Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will discuss how China is acting as a backstabber against India. Playing a double game, it seems, is in the genes of China. On one side, it pretends to be a friend and well-wisher, and on the other side, it acts as a backstabber. It did so last year by launching military aggression against India on the Ladakh border, soon after coronavirus pandemic erupted, and it has reportedly done it again as India faces the severe second wave of coronavirus. Its leaders are saying that China is keen to help India, while on the Ladakh border its military has reinforced positions. In the agenda today, we will discuss this character of China and see how India should deal with it. We have with us former diplomat Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar and retired Major General S.B. Asthana. But before we start our conversation, have a look at this small report.
With India bogged down with severe coronavirus crisis, China has stepped up its nefarious activities on Ladakh border. According to reports, the Chinese military has entered deep areas of Ladakh and reinforced its position with permanent accommodations and depots. If the reports are to be believed, the Chinese army has strengthened its position to support the friction areas along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh sector, where eyeball-to-eyeball situation persists for the last 1 year. China is vigorously building permanent structure, accommodations and military buildings at the friction points. Fortification of the position indicate that China is in no mood to pull back its troops from the friction points and disengage, despite the assurance it has given a number of times to India during the talk held at various levels. China launched the military aggression in May last year, at a time when India, along with the rest of the world, was facing the unfolding crisis created by coronavirus outbreak. After several rounds of talk, an agreement was reached on disengagement in the friction point area of Pangong Lake, and it was carried out smoothly within 10 days in February. Eyeball-to-eyeball situation continues at other friction points like Debsang, Hot Springs and Gogra Hills. After India plugged into the current crisis created by the second wave of coronavirus, China has been trying to portray itself as a friend and well-wishers. The China leadership, including President Xi Jinping, has been offering all kinds of supports to India, but behind the scene, it continues to work to attack India's interest. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests Ambassador Sajanhar and Major General Asthana. Welcome to the program, both of you, sir. So let me first go to Ambassador Sajanhar. So we talk about China's double standards or the double game. Now if you see the recent statements by Chinese Foreign Ministry and their leader Xi Jinping writing to Prime Minister that we are ready to help India in this crisis and all that. But at the same time there are reports that on the Ladakh border its military has reinforced positions and is building concrete structures and all that. So how do you see this double game?
You know, Ajay, this should not have really come as a surprise to anyone. In fact, on your program and on several other channels, both General Asthana is here, I'm here, many other analysts, many other commentators, many other scholars have been saying that, whatever might have been the lull during the months of winter, it is not going to last very long. And particularly when China finds itself in a comparatively advantageous position, that it is not suffering from the pandemic, which it started more than a year ago. And its economy has also been seen a much better upswing than most other countries, particularly as far as India is concerned. So it will use all possibilities. I don't think we should be listening to what China is saying. We should be looking at what China is doing.
Right.
And China's actions of hostility and aggression have been visible not only from last year in Ladakh. We saw that in Doklam in 2017. We saw that in Chumar in 2014. We saw that in Debsang in 2013. And in many other ways, whether it is denying India's due role on the international scene as a member of the UN Security Council, India's membership of the Nuclear Suppliers Group, China's support to Pakistan, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, $62 billion investment there. You look at anything and you will find that China's actions are hostile, irrespective of what it says. And in any case, whatever it says, it never carries those out in action.
Right.
So to come back to your question, I don't think anyone should be surprised. India is not surprised. India is prepared to deal with this situation, with this eventuality, and I think both our forces of the border as elsewhere are ready to give a befitting reply to whatever China does.
Sure. So, Major General Asthana, I come to you. As you heard Ambassador Sajjadhar saying that their words may be friendly, but their actions are hostile. So, apparently, due to whatever they said recently or uttered or their leaders said, I mean, creating the impression that they have changed or they are changing, maybe as a to be helpful to India and all that. But that is also all a farce. What do you say?
Certainly, I agree with what he has said. In addition to that,
Yeah.
let me highlight and also bring out as why these actions are matching together. Firstly, China's aim is that it should be China-centric Asia, and India should be number 2 in pecking order as far as Asia is concerned.
Right.
Now, whether it is military aggression, or it is trying to show that China is going to help, or it is trying to show that China is the savior in Corona, all are aiming at putting India down in any manner. Now, as far as actions are concerned, as Ambassador pointed out, earlier also they have done it, even now, as we speak, there are actions which are happening along the border, and even Ladakh on the curve of exercises, they are bringing more troops, and also they are better habitat and better capability along the control. As far as the actions healthcare are concerned, even if you see whatever kind of aid they have given, which they that also basically sold out. Indian market has actually changed them, and they are hearing from that pandemic, which is happening in India today. So whatever, whether they say that we have sent oxygen generators or ventilators or masks, etc., all this has been paid for, and their businessmen have actually sold it to India. So there is no grant or there is no help which has been given. They are trying to bring whatever profiteering they are doing. They are actually trying to say that we are actually helping you out in this manner indirectly, because directly India is not taking the help. They are also doing another dramatic to say that we are trying to create grouping to fight COVID, and India should join in. Whereas we all know what they are trying to do, and they try to benefit out of the pandemic in every possible way. So the whole world is witness to it, and I am very sure that this is going to be called out. So therefore, if you see, both the aims are converging at one focal point, that they want in a China-centric Asia, and they also want to bring down India in whichever possible manner, whether psychologically or otherwise.
Right.
There was also a similar campaign in their Weibo, wherein they tried to mock India, and then subsequently Global Times were trying to play a better agenda campaign to say, no, this is not a correct thing to do. So, in all matters, they are trying to highlight that India is actually
undermine India.
And undermine India, and they are trying to say that our system of governance is very good. We have done much better, and India is actually suffering very badly.
Right.
Back to you.
Yeah, sure. Ambassador Sajjadhar, I come to you about, as you heard Major General saying that China is trying to undermine and also doing business in the garb of health, whatever they are doing. But as a diplomat, I'll ask you, so why should India, when we know their character, when we know their games, Why should we even accept those supplies?
No, for instance, those supplies, let's be very clear. They are no help. They are no sort
No,
of,
I am not calling help. I am saying supplies. I am I'm maintaining the word supplies, medical supplies.
yeah, absolutely. So these are commercial, contractual arrangements that are being made. Now, India at this time of the crisis needs, as far as oxygen generators are concerned, oxygen concentrators are concerned, oxygen, cylinders are concerned. I was talking to some people, all the things that we are getting from Ireland, for instance,
Yeah.
or many of the things that we are getting from Singapore. It's not as if they are being manufactured there. Most of them are Chinese products. The point is, at this moment, India is in a situation of crisis. We don't have an option to be choosers that, we are going to buy it only from, let's say, Canada or from the United States or Europe, and not because we need to recognize that China today, particularly as far as consumer items and all these issues are concerned, it is one of the largest, biggest manufacturers in the world. So even if you don't get it from China, you're getting it from some other places, you are still sort of paying, and maybe you'll be paying more because Chinese goods go from there to Thailand or from Singapore, and then they come to India. Then there is extra handling, extra, in terms of freight, the charges have to be
Yeah,
paid,
but the
additional cost.
yeah, but the
Yes.
important point is messaging and symbolism. No, we may, if we get it from
No,
Thailand,
messaging.
not get it per se from China, to send a
You have
message
a
that we
very
are not
valid.
getting from you. We don't
You
we
have
don't
a
want.
very valid point. You have a very valid point, Ajay, and that is why, while India is accepting support and help and assistance from 40 countries,
Right.
it has not said anything to China. It has not said it is. We are even accepting support. It has come from Taiwan also.
Right.
We have accepted that. But so I think the messaging is very, very clear that we recognize that what China is trying to do is, it's as you put it, it's undermining India. It wants to show that India is on its knees. China has been able to do so much better, and that is not, the narrative that China is trying to spin is not that it has done better than India. It says it has done better than anyone, any other country in the world.
Right.
And particularly as far as democracies are concerned, meaning India is still a developing country, but it compares itself to the United States, to Europe, to France, to Germany, to Italy, to UK, and it says, look at the condition, look at how the health crisis that they are in, look at the economic crisis that they are in, look at the social crisis that they are in, and China has been able to deal with all of that very effectively. So Chinese authoritarian system and autarkic system, both in terms of healthcare, health governance, as well as economy, is much better than the system that is being practiced by democracies. So this is the narrative it is trying to spin.
Right.
And but yeah.
Yeah. So, Ms. General Asthana, I come to you. As I asked Ambassador also. So, because I am not asking, so many people are asking, why should we accept supplies from China? And when we have not accepted supplies even from Pakistan, because they are both hostile countries. In fact, AD Foundation, which is a private NGO from Pakistan, which had offered supplies, I think we have not accepted that even. So, when we are not accepting from Pakistan, why should we accept from China?
See, as far as helping or as far as India is concerned,
I am not using the word helping. I am using the word supplies. Why should we not?
Yeah.
I'm very careful about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're always very careful, Ajay.
Thank you so much.
See, the first priority for us is to save the life of our countrymen.
Right.
Now, that is a number one priority. Rest everything comes later. Because dealing with China, I think we can do it later, but certainly...
But what about country's prestige? But what about country's prestige, which is being undermined by China?
No, country's prestige is not being undermined. We have not accepted any...
No, you yourself just mentioned, just now you mentioned that China was trying to mock India by portraying your visuals, photographs.
So we did not accept that. Neither the foreign ministry accepted their proposal of we joining them for COVID response, nor did we accept any aid from China for them. If they have sold it to the third country and that third country has sold it to us, that is a business deal as investors got out. And we need these equipment from wherever we get it. So we have not taken anything from China. China has done no favor to us. So from that angle, I think we are quite clear that we have accepted no favor from China so that our prestige is intact, number one. Number two, as far as their other ambition is concerned, what they were trying to do was, see, they have earlier, when we were down with COVID, they started the standoff.
So after 1 year, we are almost having the same status quo, although Pangong Lake has been de-escalated and disengaged, but otherwise the standoff or eyeball to eyeball situation continues even after so many rounds of talks. So how do you see that situation?
Yeah, certainly. The Chinese are, what they want to do is, they want to tell us that, okay, we have disengaged in Pangong, now accept that as a fait accompli, and now let's talk friendly and let's be helping each other. Now that is not what India wants. We are very clear that the disengagement in other areas, including Dachang, is equally important. And Dachang, Y Junction, and Gogra and Hot Spring, all these areas is also important. So we do not want to de-link border issue with that. Whereas China is looking at that, okay, you de-link with that and let's start business as usual. And all these so-called gestures of peace and so-called gestures of helping out, they are all hinting at, okay, that let's start doing business as usual. Now, India is not buying that narrative. We are quite clear as to what they are intending, and we don't buy that. As far as Chinese attempts are concerned to build up forces, certainly we have also not de-escalated, and therefore, whatever misadventure China does, Corona or no Corona, we will get a mouthful and they will get a rebuttal and rebuff exactly in the same manner as they got last year.
Right.
So, if China tries to do anything which is adventurous, they will get an appropriate response as far as borders are concerned. So, we are quite prepared for that. As far as health is concerned, certainly the aids are coming, and also the kind of material which we are purchasing from various places, if it has a Chinese origin, so be it. But as of now, we have to save our people, and therefore, irrespective of where the origin of the ventilator is, if we need a ventilator, then we buy a ventilator. That is the requirement.
Yeah. So, Ambassador Sajinar, as you heard about the standoff continuing on the Ladakh border. So, 3 days back, Chinese Foreign Minister called our External Affairs Minister on the COVID situation and to express sympathies, whatever they want. But during that conversation, our External Affairs Minister raised the issue of Ladakh disengagement, that it is pending and it should be carried out soon. But apparently, I read the readouts of both sides. There was no Chinese assurance on that it will be, carried out. So they are still ambiguous. Apparently, for them, it is done deal. After Pangong, it's over. What do you say?
Yes, I think so. I think this is the message that they are trying to send out, because they said in the beginning also, I think when there was a little bit of disengagement, they said, yes, now everything is done. But you see, as far as Depsang is concerned, this is not started really only last year. As I mentioned, Depsang even in 2013.
Yeah, after that they withdrew. In 2013, after that they withdrew after a month or so.
Yeah, but Depsang has been an area, because they have been
eyeing that area.
Yeah, that's what's known as the salami slicing. So they keep on going in small increments, so that one individual increment you will not feel that it is big enough to go in for a any sort of hostile action, but they keep on adding over time. So this is what they have been doing, and I think what they have brought to question also is, like what we saw in Galwan, like what we saw in Gogra and Hot Springs. Our soldiers, our forces used to be, were able to go freely there. And I'm sure General Asthana will be able to sort of, speak with much greater confidence on this, that our soldiers were going there, they were patrolling there, but now they are, these were areas over which there was no dispute earlier, but they have now brought in fresh dispute. And that is, I think, what is the challenge going forward. And that is why, we have our 50,000 troops which have been stationed there. We have our air power. we have our tanks, we have our EPCs, we have all the other full deployment there. And so I think the message has gone to China very well. Because, two things I'd like to mention here.
Yeah.
Number one, I think what China has done is it has done huge miscalculation. Because they thought, like all the other countries, they will do a little bit of muscle flexing and the opposite country will sort of, come down on its knee.
Right.
Not India. India did not do it in Doklam. India has not done it in Ladakh. The second is that they thought that they could separate completely. That is what their ambassador has also been saying. Whatever is happening in the border, let's keep on talking about it. But the rest of the things, business, let's go business as usual. That again, India has said. This is what the External Affairs Minister also said. Our ambassador Vikram Misri has also said that unless there is peace and tranquility, we cannot really contemplate, any sort of normalization of bilateral ties.
Right.
So I think this message has gone to China very clearly, and so they will have to internalize it, and they will have to come forward with that. But last point here, they are now celebrating the 100th anniversary of establishment of the Chinese Communist Party. I think Xi Jinping is under great pressure and stress to show something positive and show something significant that he's been able to achieve, whether it is Taiwan, whether it is India. So India will have to be really very, very careful and very well prepared. And in this context, the summit meeting of the Quad that took place on 12th March, I think is a very good message that has gone to China.
Right. So, General Asthana, I come to you about disengagement process. Like if you see Pangong, it was done very smoothly. Apparently, China wanted it, and we also, I think, leaving Kailash Heights, many experts say was a mistake or maybe a blunder, because after that China is now has taken a hard position. What do you say?
See, as far as disengagement of Pangong Tso is concerned, disengagement was required for the simple reason because escalation was not an option and tanks were too close, so that accidental triggered.
But apparently in Pangong Lake, India had an advantage
I am coming
over China. Yeah.
The sequencing, I am not in agreement. In the sequencing should have been slightly different. That whoever went in last should have come out last.
Right.
And in that context, we should have insisted that unless you move back from Gogra, Dipsang, especially
all the friction points,
hot spring area, all these are friction points, we will not get down from Kailash.
Correct.
So I think the sequencing was not right. But notwithstanding that, the issue is that even in the other areas, although they have blocked our patrolling, our people have also blocked their patrolling. Like there is an area called as Bukse. They used to patrol till Bukse. Now we have also stopped their patrolling at that area. So India and we have also not de-escalated. So if there is no de-escalation from their side, there is no de-escalation from our side also. And they also know that we are also keeping all our arsenal in that area. So therefore, I think it's not that India has given up everything. We are still in a position to dictate terms to them in certain manner. But notwithstanding that, the sequencing should have been better, because you see, not many people give an excuse that okay, it was too much of winters, etc., etc. Our troops are still in winter.
Right.
The only thing is they have come down slightly. That's all. So that argument doesn't hold good. This argument also I don't buy, that Dipsang is a legacy problem. It may be a legacy problem from political angle, but as a professional, as far as I am concerned, Chinese aim is to dominate the area of DBO, because they are threatened by DBO that there is a threat to Karakoram highway.
Right.
And the Gogra hot spring, why they want to hold is that they want our supply line, which is the DS-DBO road, that to be blocked.
To Siachen.
Now, that is what they are saying.
Supply lines to Siachen.
This is the design which we have to foil. Now, our people, our decision makers, our military commanders who are currently in position, they will certainly be bringing out and must have the strategies in mind, and I'm sure they will have, and to how to ensure that this design does not succeed. So this is Chinese design.
Right.
I'm sure we will have our own, which I will not like to speak on television, but certainly we are very well prepared and we understand their design.
Right. I'm sure the government and armed forces, our military must be having some proposals and options which to deal with China, and we hope something comes out and it is resolved sooner than later. But the time of this program today is over. Thank you both of you for participating.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.